Modern software engineering often fails at the final mile. You can architect a highly optimized, infinitely scalable backend system only for your users to slam into a wall the exact moment they open your application. A meticulously designed backend API might, but if the front-end application takes 6 full seconds to parse that data and become interactive, those backend optimizations are invisible to the user. We often try to solve latency by throwing more infrastructure at the problem. We use indexed databases, global load balancers, and edge caching networks. But none of these server-side upgrades can resolve a client-side execution bottleneck. Once the data leaves the server, it hits the physical constraints of the user's environment. The payload must survive variable mobile network latency, squeeze through limited device CPU power, and process within the strict limits of the browser's rendering engine. This creates a frustrating scenario for support teams. They receive floods of tickets complaining that a dashboard is broken or a checkout page is frozen. The engineers check the logs, see flawless backend performance, and struggle to replicate a problem that only exists in the user's browser. Every millisecond of UI latency acts as a system bottleneck. The interface is the only part of the architecture the user actually touches, and its efficiency dictates whether an application succeeds or is abandoned. To fix this bottleneck, we have to change how we measure speed. Traditional server-centric metrics like time to first byte tell you when the server started talking. They tell you nothing about human perception. The industry standard for quantifying actual human perception is a framework called Core Web Vitals. These metrics track exactly what the user sees and feels. The first metric is largest contentful paint, or LCP. It measures the precise millisecond the most critical visual element, like a hero image or a main data table, actually renders on the screen. It answers a simple question: when is the page useful? The second is interaction to next paint, or INP. This measures input latency. If a user clicks a submit button, INP tracks the exact delay before the interface visually acknowledges that click. The third is cumulative layout shift, or CLS. This tracks visual stability. It actively penalizes pages where text aggressively jumps around the screen because a heavy image or advertisement loaded late. These user-centric metrics apply across the board. Public marketing pages rely on them for search engine visibility, while complex enterprise SaaS dashboards require them to maintain basic usability and user trust. Optimizing for these specific visual milestones keeps users engaged. If you fail to hit them, users will close the tab before your application even finishes booting up. The biggest barrier to hitting those visual milestones is the JavaScript payload. Unlike a static image that simply displays on a screen, JavaScript has a lifecycle cost. It must be downloaded, parsed, compiled, and finally executed by the device CPU. Application payloads become bloated rapidly. Developers pull in heavy UI frameworks, import massive third-party dependencies they barely use, and ship their entire codebase as a single, unsplit monolith. This is a network waterfall chart showing a monolithic application load. Notice how this single, massive JavaScript bundle monopolizes the bandwidth. It effectively halts the rendering of the HTML until the entire file finishes downloading. We fix this using code splitting. Instead of sending everything at once, we fracture this monolith into smaller, highly targeted chunks based on specific application routes. By splitting the code, a user browsing a lightweight public catalog page does not accidentally download the heavy charting libraries required for the administrative dashboard. We only send the code required for the current screen. We combine this with tree shaking. During the build phase, algorithms actively hunt down and eliminate dead, unused code from the final production payload. If a function is never called, it never ships to the user. Shipping less code has real-world physical benefits. It preserves mobile battery life and prevents memory crashes on lower-end smartphones that simply cannot process megabytes of raw logic. Achieving a fast initial paint requires precise control over what bytes ship and when. Since you are delivering code to hardware outside your control, reducing the total weight is a mandatory prerequisite. To bypass the network bottleneck, many teams turn to server-side rendering, or SSR. The backend generates raw HTML and sends it directly to the browser, delivering a visually complete page almost instantly. But SSR has a critical flaw. The HTML arrives looking perfect, but the page is completely dead. It cannot respond to user input. This chart shows the main thread CPU timeline during the hydration trap. The browser must spend critical seconds executing complex JavaScript to attach event listeners to that static HTML. During this solid red block of execution, the main thread is entirely frozen. If a user attempts to interact with the page, say they click a submit button or open a menu during this specific window, the input is completely ignored. The interface looks ready, but the engine is still booting. Keeping the main thread unblocked requires minimizing heavy client-side state initialization. If an interactive component doesn't need to be immediately usable, its setup logic should be delayed. Advanced architectural patterns like islands architecture and partial hydration solve this by strategically isolating interactivity. They leave static content alone and only hydrate the specific islands on the page that actually require JavaScript. For large data lists, DOM virtualization is essential. Instead of forcing the browser to calculate 10,000 rows of data, virtualization ensures the browser only renders the 20 rows currently visible on the user's screen. Visual rendering speed is a deceptive metric if the main thread remains locked. True interactivity is the only valid measure of a successful load. Beyond the core assets, the application still has to fetch its actual data. This brings us back to the network layer, where backend architecture dictates front-end speed. A common architectural danger is sequential API requests. A dashboard might need to fetch user profile data, then use that profile to fetch tenant settings, and finally use those settings to load the actual course catalog. This waterfall chart visualizes the latency penalty of sequential requests. Notice the staircase pattern. Each network call refuses to start until the previous one completely finishes, stacking the latency of every round trip. This often happens due to underfetching. A rigid backend provides data in tiny, isolated pieces, which forces the front end to execute dozens of sequential round trips just to render a single comprehensive view. The render milestone gets pushed deeper and deeper into the timeline. The opposite anti-pattern is overfetching. This occurs when an endpoint delivers a massive, megabyte-sized JSON payload containing a user's entire history when the UI only needed their first name. Solving these data cascades requires designing backend API shapes specifically around front-end rendering constraints. The backend must allow the front end to request multiple pieces of data in parallel, asynchronously. Many teams implement a backend for front-end, or BFF layer. This dedicated server aggregates disparate data sources on the backend and delivers a single, highly tailored summary payload for the initial page load. Front-end speed cannot be achieved in a vacuum. It requires deep, cross-functional collaboration on API design to ensure data is delivered exactly as the interface needs it. We also have to address the heaviest physical assets on the page: unoptimized media files, custom typography, and external scripts carry a disproportionate amount of weight. Serving a 3,000-pixel uncompressed desktop hero image to a mobile user is highly destructive. It instantly consumes the user's available bandwidth and heavily delays the largest contentful paint metric. Modern engineering requires utilizing compression formats like WebP or AWIV, combined with automated CDN transformations that resize images on the fly based on the user's device. Custom web fonts carry their own rendering cost. Loading excessive font weights blocks the text rendering process, leaving the user staring at invisible text while the typography files slowly download. Third-party marketing trackers and analytics widgets are highly volatile dependencies. They block main thread execution and introduce unpredictable latency, entirely outside the control of your engineering team. The strategy here is aggressive deferral. You lazy load all images below the fold, so they only download as the user scrolls, and you strictly defer all third-party scripts until after the user has interacted with the page. Every custom font weight, high-resolution image, and marketing pixel acts as a direct tax on application speed. Each one must be justified against user retention. Even if you optimize your application today, front-end performance naturally degrades over time. As teams scale, they continuously add new features, data libraries, and tracking tools, slowly reintroducing bloat. Testing an application on a high-end developer laptop connected to gigabit internet provides a dangerous, false sense of security. It hides the reality of how the code behaves on average hardware. This global map tracks real user monitoring, or RUM.
RUM is the only empirical method to track actual global network latency and device CPU limits in the wild, showing you exactly how users experience your application in different regions. To defend against code bloat, performance cannot be a reactive process triggered by user complaints. It must be a programmatic law, embedded directly into the CI/CD pipeline as performance budgets. A deployment pipeline must be configured to automatically fail a build if a specific JavaScript bundle or image payload exceeds its designated byte limit. If the code is too heavy, it does not ship. Long-term product scaling requires performance to be an ongoing, programmatically enforced standard. Without continuous monitoring, code bloat eventually overwhelms even the most optimized initial build. Ultimately, physics enforces a hard limit. Even with perfect architecture, data fetching and complex backend processing will always require absolute time. This is where engineers utilize perceived performance. By leveraging UI psychology, you can make an application feel instantaneous, regardless of the actual backend processing speed. Skeleton screens immediately outline the structural layout of a page. They give the user immediate visual feedback and reduce anxiety while the actual content loads asynchronously in the background. Optimistic UI updates a visual state instantly upon a user click, assuming success and providing immediate confirmation while the backend request completes invisibly. Optimistic UI requires a critical safety net. The system must gracefully handle network failures by instantly reverting the visual state and alerting the user if the backend request ultimately fails. A lightning-fast backend is irrelevant if the front end fails to orchestrate the final delivery of that data to the user's screen. Frontend performance is a rigorous cross-stack engineering discipline. It permanently dictates whether your software system feels broken or whether it earns the user's trust.